Hello everyone, my name is Notepad and I write games for fun, so what are we doing today? Today I'm gonna lose my fucking mind with Borzoi. Yes, it's Borzoinkin hours. This might look a little different from last time. There's a few reasons for this. Namely, we lost our minds. Last time though, we were working on the system, and I've determined what the system will be. I even have the exact date we're going to be doing things in, so the hard part's done. Well, the hard part isn't done, but I can definitely believe that it's done. So, basic system is a roll, keep, and modify system, RKM. You are going to roll a number of die equal to your ATB plus your skill, and these will be in D8s. They will be modified by various different kinds of die, usually through the use of equipment. You will keep, I should say, half your attributes in die. So let's say, for example, this is a 5, you would keep 2. Or if it was 6, you would keep 3. Every time you beat the target number in this situation, that is considered a success. You get more successes, better results. This feeds into the concept of complexity. If something is 3 complexity, that means you need to beat it 3 times with one roll, which can be very difficult. Usually most things just need 1 complexity though. You need to beat it once, and every other success over is just benefits. Cool. Attributes. Yes, attributes, exactly. So, here we are. I'm remaking this so it's a little bit more hammered out, one might even say. A little bit but cleaner even. So, right now we need to make characters. Now, this is where things get really fun and really exciting. What I mean by this gets really fun and really exciting, it means that we need to make attributes, and attributes are going to be randomized based on whatever the fuck you were. Then, your skills. Also, thank you very much, Lucky Strike Daniel. I do love the warm, toasted flavor of Lucky Strikes. So, basic system functions. I keep going back and forth on what kind of die and how to do a lot of this stuff. On the other hand, that's we hammer that out later. We should hammer it out now, but I don't know how to hammer it out, so I'm ignoring it. So, mental and physical attributes. I have it in my little notebook here that attributes should be practical. And what do I mean by practical attributes? I mean attributes you can use. Because what I'm thinking about doing is making skills a little bit more interpretive. And what does that mean? It pretty much means skills, it's not going to be the gun skill. It's going to be like a combat skill with an emphasis on guns or something like that. That's where, again, it's... Do we treat skills as D6s? But if you have a specialization in something, they're counted as D10s. So it's like, oh hey, I have the combat skill. And because I've got the combat skill, but with an emphasis on gun combat, anytime I use guns, like you roll D10 instead of D6s. With my D8 attributes. So that's one option. Other options, keeping it just D8. But kind of the idea with interpretive skills is that each skill should be able, the ultimate goal of this, each skill should be able to be used with every attribute. There's going to be a couple that are going to be a little bit more obvious than others. That's to be expected. But that should be the basic premise. Is that easy? No. Do I know what to do? Vaguely. What I wrote down for physical anyway, was perception. Perception, body, charisma, and agility. Mental, I had written down intelligence, empathy, ego, question mark, and then I made a little squiggly line motion. So I made a little squiggly motion that kind of, I guess the best way to think about it is like picture that a couple times. Yeah, not too helpful. Not too helpful. So kind of like Blades in the Dark action ratings, to a degree. Hello, phone. If you need me for something, I'm gonna be pissed. I want you to know this, world. Give me 1 second. Honestly, yeah, the Blades in the Dark kind of, let's see. I want to find the character sheet. Yeah, kind of, even a little bit, like, is this Blades in the Dark? Yeah, that's Blades in the Dark. So, even a little bit more, I never want to download that. Even a little bit more detailed, like a little bit even more open. The best way to think about it is, like, every one of these should be able to be used with each of these, if that makes sense. So a little bit more specific, but at the same time a little bit less specific. Okay. See, everyone wants to talk now that I'm streaming. Everyone now wants to talk to me. They don't want to talk to me when I'm not streaming. It do be that way sometimes. Oh, geez. So, let's see. But it was proposed by Horace that we do something akin to this. Problem is, we need to find a way to separate... When it comes to abilities, if we think of, like, ability scores or our attributes to summarize who we are, we would effectively need to separate the concept of mental and physical. Because the mind might remain, the body may not. So... if we adopt something like this... Why the sword? I'm curious. Sword World to 2.5 character sheet. Yeah, Sword World's kind of got a different way of doing this. I guess it would be, Really, I'm kind of flying blind here, people, so feel free to contribute if you have any questions or you have anything that you want to talk about. I am going to be hemming and hawing a lot here. If we break it down into 2 categories, I mean, I guess we could do... It would double the amount of fucking skills, almost. So effectively it would be, is this a strength focus, is the psych, technique, intelligence? I guess it would be... If we replace this, like, let's let's do a little bit of a correcting here. If we want to keep this idea, this would have to be, let's call it, body. Then psych could probably remain as psych. I guess this would be like dexterity, like I guess technique would be technique doesn't sound like the right way of wording it, but I guess it would be coordination, and then effectively intelligence, but we would want to call it something different. If we do something like this, then we do body focused, like I guess if we do it like oh God. Conversation points. Makes stats uneven so that most of your stats are in your brain. That's what I was thinking, but I'm like, what do you even do in that situation? I don't know. And that's what's throwing me off about this entire thing, is I don't know how to split it and how to make it good. Because if we were to do... Because even if you look at it like this, even if you look at like, why... Oh my God, holy shit, stop fucking... For those curious, someone keeps... apparently, someone in my server wants to groom people. And I think it's Horace, because he keeps sending cat lollies to people. I don't know why Horace wants to do this. I don't know what's going on. It just keeps happening. Truly, Kiwi Farms memento. I just want to write games, damn it. Fuck. So, it's one of those things, like, of these, oh, hey, is perception a mental stat? Some people say it is, some people say it isn't. Are your eyes important to your perception? Yes, but is charisma a mental stat? I don't know. Maybe it is. You can make an argument that it is. You can make an argument that it isn't. So it's like, shit. What am I looking at wrong? What am I looking at this wrong? Because I know I am. Okay, let's think about it differently. We approach things, let's just start from the top. Let's just write things out. Like willpower, charisma, intelligence, initiative, perception, and psychic powers are all brain. So willpower, rhetoric. It would be rhetoric, not charisma necessarily. Intelligence, effectively senses, because that's what initiative is, and also perception, and psychic powers, but we don't have psychic powers, so we don't need to think about it. So then your body would just be strength, strength, and agility. But that doesn't make any sense, because then senses would need to be in the physical, because if I have a body that cannot fucking see, my senses aren't going to be very good, obviously. This is a game where I see it being a bit more physical than mental. You see my fucking issue. You see why this game is driving me insane. I want you to know, because there are so many little crossroads. And so many if and or maybe but perhaps statements. That's why it's a very strange existence. And it's driving me completely bananas. In a bad way. Because if we want this to be unbalanced, like fundamentally speaking, do we want the idea of this being unbalanced or balanced? And once you start getting that question, you have to ask your question, do we want these to be strictly practical or interpretive? Do I want people making the argument, can I roll this for this? Maybe, I don't know, like, and you just keep going down that cycle of if and or maybe but perhaps. So I need to find a maybe we're looking at this wrong. Maybe I need to look at this differently. Wait. Since isn't like half and half. No, you can't best eyes in the world, but your brain can't look good, and it's not healthy. Exactly. Like, it's a very weird scenario. Maybe make it so there's no mental stats at all, because if you remove the mental stats, you remove the concept of being able to repeat yourself. That's the issue. Actually, you know what I should do? You know what? It's been a while. Oh, someone's left a comment. Oh, what if someone tried to do a kinetic simulation hybrid? I'll answer that as a as an accurate. Let's do. Hello, welcome to the cyborg video where I get really mad at it. Let's see. Salvation. It's odd to think about. How can you fix cyberpunk when you simply don't wish I could propose it? Well, because there's no gaming expert. I don't judge art books, so instead I'll use another game of my mind. One that doesn't exist. A diametric opposite to Cyborg's empty punk theme. Boar's always a game about being the cyberpunk nightmare corporation. You're effectively a corporate kill squad given order to blast punks back where they goddamn belong and make sure the entire system that you have remains in order. The concept of salvation is baked into every aspect, though. Character-wise, you're former punks, but you took a deal. Boar's always wants the best hounds to hunt wolves, and unfortunately, you have the best teeth. You're effectively a corporate coin ops, and hunting punks by kicking down doors with full armor and top-of-the-line cybernetics and blasting them to Kingdom Come. We need to keep the stats relatively simple here, is what I would technically say normally, but fuck it. We'll keep it weird, brain, muscle, nervous. See, when in doubt, I have to just reference myself from I reference myself from previous times. You remove the mental stats, more cleanly deals with the ship of Theseus problem. Yeah, but then it doesn't make sense in certain other capacities. Do not make a cool acronym. Yeah, I know. If we do something like this, let's think about this. Your nervous system, your muscles, your immune system. Okay. Cyborg. Again, because this is where the birth of Borzoi was, by the way. This one was a D20 roll under. Clandestine corporations and unhinged psychopathy. You're a suit far away. Borzoi's in the game about the expense of herb snob. My name is No. So this. Musculoskeletal. While fucked up to call it that, would be kind of funny. I guess. I guess if you want to go fast, it would just be your nervous system. If you want to be tough, you're going to be doing that. If it's your immune system. Actually, ooh. Your nervous system is your tick, your somatic system is your body, your immune system is your ability to withstand things. If we go strictly into the mental at that point, I guess you would need to put in a... If your nervous system is the thing keeping you going, that is your split-second reaction. How would you actually... Let's see, because I guess the idea would be, the concept would be quick physical action. You know, enduring, I mean, let's think, I mean, like endurance. I guess that would be the way you have to do it. How would you describe your knee-jerk reactions? How do you enjoy, getting up from a bullet wound? How do you do it like I'm actually applying my full body to something? Actually, you know what? We do the entire nervous system. I guess we could also apply that to the idea of, like, mental actions, right? Because ultimately, I need to have some of these to do certain things. I am not living in a cyberpunk dystopia, so I'm going to need something to represent someone who knows what the fuck they're doing. See, for a while, I want you to know, id, ego, and super ego were the actual stats. I mean, if we apply psych, intelligence, I hate intelligence as a stat though, and fucking what? Rhetoric. Rhetoric. Effectively, your anima would be your entire mental self, and that's the justification they use for, brain effectively turning you into a new body. Your anima, your actual sense of self, is still there. However, like, trying to think. Why do you hate intelligence as a stat? Logic is a better one. Intelligence is one of those things where it sounds very... Intelligence is a big word. Intelligence. It's four syllables. And that takes up things. And it also has a lot more implications of being not necessarily street smart, but book smart. Rather than, hey, I just know how to do things because I am a smart person. That's why I like using things like smarts rather than that. Being like, yeah, you don't need a formal education to have smarts. Usually things that are like, that use like key off things like intelligence or whatever are just skills. And I'm just like, why don't you just have a skill with something being like, yeah, I'm good at doing that. It's just a weird pet peeve. Good Kagura boxing. Wits. Or do we just abandon that entire fucking premise because it's just not working and I am losing my fucking mind? God. Fuck. I hate it when I can see it. I think that's the worst. I hate when I can very clearly see up here what I want to do. But the thing up here is not being able to deliver it to the page. I like the idea of keeping mental stats but dropping your physical in case you die, because I think that's very thematic. Because it leaves it up. Because the problem there is that it leaves it up to the question of, are you the same person if you keep doing that? And it's like, maybe I maintain my brain, however I don't have my body. But on the other hand, there's also a lot more, well, you know, cognito ergo sum kind of thing. You know, and I think therefore I am. Am I the same person as I was if I remove all my body parts that make me someone different? A little bit of a food for thought scenario. Psycho Patrol are. Yeah, Psycho, yeah. What I use for Sonata? What's your exact issue? My exact issue is, at the current state of affairs, what I want to have happen is if you die violently, but you have a backup, you maintain all of your mental attributes, you re-roll your physical. The body is important to you because it is a body. However, really the only thing that matters is your mental wherewithal, if that makes sense. You are are you still the same person? And what I want to have happen is that your mental stats will roll over to the new body if you choose to do that. However, the question is, what is a mental stat versus what is a physical stat? And the problem is, a lot of things are physical stats. But they can also justify them being mental stats. So the question is, what's a mental and what's a fucking physical stat? And I'm trying to find it, but it doesn't want to show up because nothing is easy. Yeah. You could use another division. In what capacity? If you got the idea, I'm willing to hear it. Okay. You know what? I did work on... Show me card game. Wonder. Okay. Were you yerking it? No. I'm here. I didn't make any noise. Did you? Were there mysterious noises? I'm worried now. I didn't make any noise. That's a worrisome statement. Okay. Let's think about this. Oh. God, I fucking hate Mike Palmsmith. You have no fucking idea. Keep your understanding. We use your hand cannon, Big Berthas, and questionable, but you'll have the strength to aim, arm the holder. See, that's again, that if you do something like that, that changes the nature of how skills are. It does. It changes the nature of how skills are, because then we go from there to a strict skill system. Instead of having the street samurai or the combat skill, you have the gun skill. You have a firearm skill, and that firearm skill gives you something. It's a very specific skill that cannot be used with everything because, well, no shit. I'm not gonna what am I gonna do? Stronghold the gun better? Like I'm gonna strong my gun. I'm gonna grip the gun really hard and that'll make it shoot better. No, it's gonna require something like senses or perception or something, which again changes the nature of the game quite a bit. Fucking Crossroads. Okay. Let's think about this. All right, we're going to do this nice and easy. What are the absolute basic physical stats? Think about it. What are the absolute most simplistic breakdown of the human body to accomplish something? Like strength, dexterity, constitution. Pretty much everything you need. Let's even call it agility. There you go. Here you go. It's muscle, agility, constitution. Absolute bare minimum to get everything, to get things done. roll into muscle. So it would be... So it'd almost be like, honestly, it's, I mean, if we want to be the absolute most basic, it would be, I guess, muscle agility, and agility even is kind of a crapshoot there. But on the other hand, I don't think it's very satisfying to have exactly one stat you roll for everything physical, is it? That's not very satisfying. You know, because as we know, every fast person is also extremely strong. Every, you know, bodybuilder is, of course, an Olympic level athlete who can totally do, you know, can flip through the air 6 times. Of course, those are the exact same thing, right? So... some people are built differently. That's kind of the idea. I think the wiry guy who is trained to run is probably going to beat the guy who lifts rocks for a living, who weighs 400 pounds. He's extremely strong, but I don't think he's going to win a race. That's kind of the idea. Do people grow the exact same way when... That's the question. If I have a +1 body skill, does that mean that, like, yeah, okay, this is just everything? We want to reduce it down to the absolute basics. You would roll the body skill for everything. Yeah, I mean, hey everyone, there's exactly 2 stats in this game. Body and not body. God, fuck. You know what? Maybe, again, maybe I'm looking at this wrong. Okay. Let's get rid of it. Let's get rid of it. Start from the top. I want to do something. I want to lift myself up. I want to put my arms on the top of a fence and pull myself up. What am I using? Am I being dexterous? Am I being strong? What am I doing? Using your body. I want to dodge something. I'm using my body. What am I doing? Body. Just endless body. There you go. Every stat is body now. This is fucking infuriating. I want you all to know that. This is infuriating. I use that son's identity. When in doubt, fuck it. I'm using Goblin Slayer logic here. I have to. I'm losing my fucking mind. So, strength focus. Strength focus is physique. I am actively doing something. Strength endurance is something. Strength reflex is reflex. Okay, easy enough to do it. What would this be? What is this? Strength endurance. If I was being a little bit more technical, I would literally call it meat. If I want it to look more formalized, let's think about it like this. You are a corporate executive. You are looking at a bullet point list, effectively, of this person. What 3 stats do you see? What is their physique? What is their reflex score? What is a what? Like... Yeah, but like, what do you call that? What do you call strength endurance? I guess like, meat is the best way I could word it. Why is it called the worst thing ever? The integumentary system. Why is it called the integumentary system? Why can't it be better? Meat bone wire. Exactly. Honest to God. Yeah, that would be the idea. It would be... If I had it my way, it would be literally meat, bone, and wire. But we can't call it meat, bone, and wire. Muscle. Strong. Big. Tough. I am high muscle. I am big, strong, and tough. Nervous. I am twitchy. I am fast. I am something doing something. I am a person who does something. I am the person who is able to click the little locks. If we're looking at all the people opening a door, muscle wants to kick down the door. I mean, I guess we could call it physique. That would be... Or we just say fuck it and we don't be formal. Okay, here's a new question. New question. And I'm going to ask you this new question. For you and me. For this game, for living the you are a corporate, corporate kill squad. For a corporate kill squad simulator, would you want things to be formal? Or would you want them to be, dare I say, real TM? Because if we want to be real TM, what we could literally do is meet, Twitch, and something like Bone. We could do something like Meet, Twitch, and Bone. Or it'd be Bone, Meet, and Twitch. While if we want to do something formal, like this is on a dossier handed to someone. This is a... I've been handed a thing. You get what I mean? As a corporate executive, someone has handed you a data slate, and they've handed you a thing. And this is what it would be. You get what I mean? They look at it being like, well, it looks like his muscles, it looks like this body has high this and high that. Versus this person, we're going to do some update. It's like, both of them have a very valid option here, and I fucking hate things. This one is called endurance. We go with meat, twitch, and guts. Purely physical. Guts or bone, I don't really know which one sounds best there. Purely physical. No, you will get a new body, it will have different meat, it will have different twitch, and it will have different guts or bone or something. Mental attributes, your anima. Make that the point. How do we make the idea of mental attributes based off of anima? So this would be acumen. Easy enough. Like, part of me wants to have an intelligence, but like interfacing, like your ability to actually use technology and hacker man bullshit. This would be something they would be able to measure you from. Like, they don't really give a shit about your body. They matter about your mental wherewithal. Mental stat N. Ugh. Newman, your presence. M-A, M-A, M-A. Acuity. Acuity would be awareness. I mean, I guess acuity would be a better one there. Hello, phone. Acumen. Are we on the right? Okay, it's acumen is knowing things, Newman is your sense of self, interfacing is... I don't like interfacing, but I can't think of a better term. Interfacing might need a different one. What would be M? The very specific two terms here. I've used mentat for other things. But then how would you... Acumen feels like it's now... If mentat stays, acumen must go. If mentat goes, what do we replace it with, though? Mental attributes. TRPG. I don't fucking know. Okay. What am I looking at here? I'm gonna say use mentat, then use acuity for the A in the acronym. The problem there is that if you do this, we have another A to work with. So we're left in the same thing. We're left in the same situation. We just have it in a different place. We still need to fill an A with something. What do you fill an A with? A mental attribute using A. Adroitness. Adroitness would work if we were, if it was physical. Sir. Yeah, see, cleverness or skill. Or, I mean, I guess we could use adroitness, right, everyone? You think we could use, I mean, we could use adroitness in this situation, right? It works. All it means is cleverness or skill in something. It's just your skill. Unless we want to have the idea of I see, I know, I understand, I learned, What? Attitude? Make up a word and say it's jargon from the year 2130. It's 2075, thank you very much. You know, that's kind of skill use. I mean, like, what do you... Okay. Alright, bear with me, bear with me. Aptitude. Instinct. How about this? We replace instinct. All right. This work? Okay. I'm going to leave it all to you now. You're going to help me all out. All of you, my bravest rubber duckies. You're all going to help me out here. So I'm going to say a few things, and I want you to just type out what you think. Think about it as a GM, or think about it as a player. Make me an acuity check. When would you say that? When would you say make me an acuity check? Here, I'll even make it a little difficult for you. There you go. How would you see that if I said make an acuity check? GM, I want to search something in the room. Okay. Okay. Player, you must make a Newman check. What do you see here when I say Newman check? Okay. All right. You have to make an instinct check now. You're making an instinct check. What do you think? What comes to your brain case right as I say that? I think we're a little bit backed up, but the thought that counts. Okay. Because remember, we have Twitch. So anything else thinking for instinct? Instinct's now kind of a debatable one. Make a mentat check. Just make a mentat check. What are we thinking? See, I could harass the server and do this, but I'm resisting the urge to harass my server. I'm gonna place acuity with awareness. Its acuity or awareness could work, honestly. Acuity is just a little shorter. Like, that and awareness, you can make an argument it's a little bit more direct, while acuity can mean multiple different things. You have strong acuity. That's the your acuity can be used with multiple skills. Awareness doesn't feel like it can be used with multiple skills as easily anyway. But we might get into that. Okay. You need to make an aptitude check. It makes sense, right? Aptitude works. Okay. What instincts the fuck you want? So what do we replace instinct with? What would you replace instinct with if you want to replace instinct? Unless you change the nature of what instinct means. You know what? You know what? We change the nature of it, and we change it to gut feelings. You enter a room, there's nothing there. What do you roll? Someone says, I want to make an instinct check. It's a very active skill. Musical Borzoid stat should be a good dog. Good dogs. Acuity means you really want to try to find something. Instinct is something is wrong. I don't know what it is, but something's wrong. Would you use a skill like that, though? Would you, if you had that attribute, would you use it? That it is a set of gut feelings and... not necessarily seeing information, but being told there is information, if that makes sense. Something's wrong here. I need to stop this. Something is incorrect in this situation. I need to do something. Would that be a skill you'd want to use? Think about it like that. Strange. Okay. Yo. Okay. Well, intuition. Instinct or intuition? What do you think would be better? Instinct or intuition? No, I'm gonna keep with... It's the same thing as intuition, but it's a little bit more uncomfortable. Alright. So that is 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Okay, that's 8. Eight skills. Most are mental. Some are physical, but physical are going to be used a lot more actively. Now, my two ideas here is either A, we use the concept of interpretive skills are, instead of having a, if a strict skill system has the gun skill, interpretive has, a street like gunslinger skill kind of thing. Like the gun skill will probably never use the the Newman attribute, but the gunslinger skill might have used that for a completely different thing. You get what I mean? Both of them have very different... Alertness, pride, intuition, training, ferocity. All right. We've got your anima. Mm. Mm. That's why it has those names. Everyone has their BMTI. What's their BMTI? It is literally it is their body mass index, and that's just the term they use themselves internally. It's your meat, twitch, guts, bone, whatever. So it would be, if it's your... If we use the term bone, meat, twitch, bone. So it would be your body mass, I don't know, what's be a good word there? Dog-pilled design. Do not say dog-pilled. No one here is dog-pilled. No one is dog-pilled. Stop that. Now. Tense again. Compressed components suspended with a network of tension could be fine. We can just use the word tension. It's your body mass tension index. Internally, yeah. You gotta get tested for your BMTI every now and again. What does this mean? It's your ability to actually do things. How much body you're at, how much can your body actually support? But everything gets moved over to just meat, twitch, bone, meat, and twitch. Body mass tension index. I guess we could add in an I there somewhere, but I don't know what we would want to call it. We might be very white, but there are no women here. It's both architectural, occult, new age shit. Let's see. Okay. Alright. We're good there. So, if we go with interpretive skills, my idea for really, my concept that I had for interpretive skills were, classic cyberpunk archetypes. Now, the idea here would be oh, you have the Street Sam skill. Because you are a Street Sam, you look at things differently. And this had a few ideas to give you an idea of why I've been struggling with this game as much as I have. Because option A, at one point the idea were skills were D6. If you had a special, but specializations made them D10. It was okay, so that was kind of the idea. And then we had a horrifying word wizard version, which would be you start off with the concept of being a Street Sam, and then you go up to being a mercenary. It covers the same thing, but the wording's a lot different. It's a different skill set. It is a completely different skill set with the exact same job description, if that makes sense. You're just expanding out your skill sets, effectively. Insides. Yeah, but what does insides do, Spartan? That's the question. What would insides do? That's the ultimate question. What does this thing do? I guess we could literally have it and be yeah, this is just your raw health. Bone prevents you from dying, but on the other hand, inside's just bunch of bonus health. Doesn't do anything, you'll never roll it for anything. But that feels also kind of weird. But yeah, so this was kind of my idea, and then we have kind of the classic way, which was literally just going to be you have a hacker 3, and because you have hacker 3, you add 3D You know, you add 3, keep 0 to whatever your roll is, because you are a hacker, man. Like, strict skills, like, I don't want to have... I've been trying to avoid, like, 1,000,000 skills. Because this is the kind of game that can have a bajillion skills and justify all of them, because it is a cyberpunk game. Actually, Ethical, are you... Ethical, if you're still in here, send me your skill list. Send your skill list to me now! Like, let's think. The skill list waxes and wanes by the day. Oh yeah, no, the T in techno, the idea of tension is technically how much stuff you would have inside of your body. I mean, like, how much can your body actually support? This is the extremely corporate way of looking at things, and that's how they would actually see things. They do not say meat, twitch, bone, insides, or whatever. They say, here's your BMTI. Hey, we've noticed that all the cybernetics in your body, like... I'm not even sure I should have a melee skill. You understand what I mean as well. I hope you know this. That's why I was thinking of, like, a short collection of, like, really open-ended skills. Like, if we were to think, like, if traditional cyberpunk archetypes... Let's, like, if we were to see, like, cyberpunk, God, I fucking forgot, cyberpunk character archetypes. Still fucking hate it, by the way, that cyberpunk is still the de facto on everything. Like, it'd be like, to me, it would be like Street Samurai, obviously. You would have, Street Sam, hacker, I guess infiltrator. Face, things like that. Like, with the idea that all of those skills can be used with everything, so, Yeah, traditional cyberpunk TRPGs have 60 plus skills, of which 4 are used. Yeah, that's why I'm trying to, like... Even if... See, unfortunately, if I go to, like, I want to do Shadowrun archetype, like, Shadowrun archetypes and things like that. Like, Shadowrun archetypes are very... unfortunately tied to Shadowrun. And some Shadowrun characters do not work in this setting, because there is no magic. And, but what about psychics, Notepad? I want to play a psychic. You can't play a psychic. Most are dead. Most are dead, and the other half are currently disassociating violently. God. Like... Decker, shaman, yeah, fucking shamans. Ah, fuck. There's a dangerous amount of shrapnel in your lungs. Yeah, it's kind of the way that's even a way I kind of want to present the GM as. I don't want to present the GM as like this all-knowing god. It's like, yeah, GM is technically the guy sitting in the office in your ear. They're mission control. And that is a person who is kind of disinterested in your actual safety and more interested in you completing the job. What did Cthulhu Tech do again? God, What? When in doubt, let's look at Cthulhu tech skills. Fuck it. What could possibly go wrong? We actually would have, let's see. Do we have... Nope. Yeah, that has a bajillion skills. Fuck. If we want to go, okay, let's think about it. You, me, and the end of the world, okay? Because you and me and the end of the world are what we do best here. So, skills. In a game like this, where the fantasy and one of the possible endings is becoming Atom Smasher, do you want to have many little skills, or would you want to have like a few very broad skills? But here's the thing. We can increase the little skills a lot more readily. But the bigger skills are take a little bit more but have a higher impact. Do we want to have the scuba skill? Or a daredevil skill set, effectively? I guess the idea would be... Or we could do the extremely radical option of, This is a terrible idea. This is a dog shit fucking idea. However, I don't think this is the right game for it. But every character archetype you start as, you have a certain number of slots. Those slots are combat, technical, maybe like social or something, and you have to write in what it was. Like what is that? What's your combat, thing? What's your, tech thing or whatever? And those are your skills. They're write-in skills effectively, but they are skill sets. Because I am a street samurai, I can do X, Y, and Z. Because I am a hacker and know how to do hacker stuff or whatever, I get my bonus. I get my bonus die here. But that would be no, that doesn't work. Different game. Maybe I should look at it like that a little bit. Take a step back. In a corporate office, how would you describe your skill set to people? I guess that would be the question. I guess... See, this is a weird question because this is actually a business question. This is an HR question. Fun fact, this is a weird HR question for everyone. Do you look at the skills or the previous careers? Because if you look at the skills of someone, you can have a lot of them. But if you look at the career of someone, being like, because you were in this career, you have a better knowledge of this. We kind of invoke some Barbarians of Lemuria, almost. I do like Barbarians of Lemuria. I do like it, right? I do like it. You gotta deal with your handle to get you Neurobeat augment from neuromancy.inc. I don't think HR people are actually people, but... Well, the thing is here, you have to remember, this is an HR department for a effectively, like, this is an HR department for a, corporate asset protection service that employs prisoners. In a better word, we are literally a for-hire death squad. Like, that uses prison labor to get the job done. So would they look at your individual skills, or would they look at the previous occupations that you held? Actually, you know what we can do? Fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck it. We're doing it live, everyone. We're doing it live. Do you have a cyberpunk variant of this? The Barbarians of the Future supplement. Fuck. This is the old version, but this is the very old version, by the way. Not the new version. This is the one that I played. Let's start with the fucking numbers. Get the fuck out of my... No. No. There we go. We're into the... Hey everyone, it's Cyberpunk 2090, everyone, from the hit game Cyberpunk 2090. Have no fear, everybody. Fucking time. Let's think. Broad skills. Broad skills that people, like skill categories almost. Combat skills. What does this actually mean? What is your actual career that you've gone in your life? I was a soldier. I was a street ronin. I was a hitman. I was a, you know, a fucking, you know, death squad member. I don't fucking know. I was part of, you know, I was a black ops guy or whatever. Okay, combat. Easy enough to understand. Technical. What's technical mean? Technical means you know things in a... things in a society, says man. Criminal works, civilian works. Let's think. What are we thinking? What are we thinking? I was a ganger punk. Criminal. Yeah, I would be a criminal then. In Night City, everyone can come. Don't we love Mike Pondsmith here. We love it. I guess if we put the concept of technical here, of like, this is a really like detailed profession. Criminal is, civilian would be, mundane work. Actually, you know what? No. Maybe something like that. Why do you come? When you begin, how about this? My genius level play. Absolute billion-dollar play. Let's say we've got our archetype. Let's say we were a street ronin. That's who we were. We were a street ronin. We were a professional fucking asshole. So, what we have is, bone meat twitch. Cool. So here's our stats. So this is very arbitrary. Let's say with our very arbitrary stats, we've got a like a D6 here, D8, D8, D4, yeah, 10. You know, let's even do like, yeah. However, we've got like a D10 there, we got like a D12 there, and a like let's say like that's our run through, okay? Like that's our run through. As a street ronin though, we begin with 2 combat, 1 criminal. Those are our backgrounds. We only get to select it from those categories. Maybe we should provide a list of them. If we want to keep it, yeah, I guess we'd have to provide a list, wouldn't we? But, okay. None of them would have the corporate ideal, if that makes sense. None of them have that corporate background until you are able to level up here, in which lets you buy corporate skill sets. Back alley cybers, why do you come? In short, the Borzoi was poached for a reason, and they won't ever know why. Just that they were strafing from the past. The company has a number of skills, and X number of them match with Borzois and rest don't. We changed the nature of Borzoi a little bit there, Wuso. Effectively, you're welcome to the idea of welcome to the private prison industry. In fact, You were punks. Your contract was literally purchased by Borzoi, the company. And they're like, hey, you want to pay off your debt? Cool, you can totally pay off your debt. However, actually, I should say, so skill set would be right in via category. Provide a strict list of open-ended opportunities. Both of those feel pretty decent, but I like the idea of skill sets. So the idea works well there. Okay. Okay. Now, we have successfully accomplished in 2 hours, effectively, attributes and skills. Now we go into derived attributes. Now, luckily, with my handy notebook here, I wrote down some of these things, and I would like to see everyone's opinion on it. So, when it comes to something like health, initially I was looking at like everyone has 100 plus. Here it would probably be like bone times X, Like everyone's got a lot of HP, but you can get more initially. The thing is, there's a lot of things that reduce HP very quickly. When it comes to, actually, we can do. We could speed things along. So if we do the idea of a set value initiative, that means set value initiative would be, it's whatever your twitch is, plus whether your acuity or your instinct. That's kind of a personal thing, because that also gives gives you, the player, a little bit of authority of how your character acts and how the way they see things. Hey, I act purely on instinct versus I act by kind of thinking things through a little bit. Health system. I kick down the door. I put my gun up. I shoot the first punk I see. He gets a golf ball size hole through his chest because he sucks, and we're going to use... Maybe we use the, Mm. 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 If we use the palladium armor system, I think that should work. Give us a little bit more to play with. Well, not full on, but kind of the idea that, you know, it has health. Actually, I guess that does lead to a kind of a unique question. Like, do we want to have like a natural defense score? Maybe. What would that natural defense be? It would be Twitch plus... We could just make it Twitch. No. Natural defense. We don't have natural defense. So we use the palladium armor system. So if we use the idea of the palladium armor system, that just means we have to make a couple different varieties of armor, and they're all set up. If you hit the critical wound threshold, you know what? We can add in... There we go. So when it comes to when you actually do end up taking a critical wound, you've taken a serious injury, and because you've taken a serious injury, actually, I guess we do. And because you've taken a serious injury, you are more likely to have your armor break, because we are using palladium. No, we use a... I am a dude in full combat armor. Hooray! I am in full Jinro Wolf Brigade combat armor. I look like an evil person. I've got my helmet on. I've got this on. I've got all of my gear on. I am a Jinro Wolf Brigade man. Bullets bounce off of me. Okay. We use palladium armor system with... Maybe we... It's a weird idea. But it would bring a weird... It would be a really weird way of handling that. The idea of your armor will eat bullets. Your armor absolutely eats bullets. However, you know, you take too many bullet wounds, you're going to die, obviously. But your armor, on the other, but it only has a damage reduction versus actual melee. If some lunatic rushes you with a knife, you better be damn sure you can get to him or get out of the way or shoot him before he does that, or, well, also you can just stab him yourself. And good idea? Bad idea? Ethical cyberpunk man, save me. Horus, save me. God. I don't even think Neurobeat has energy weapons. Let's think. I don't think we have any energy weapons or anything like that. Okay, let's do a quick check. Okay, Falgo, modified automatic rifle, folds down to compact form. Right, control extendable, shocks target. Pop gun. Smart tech auto, stun rod. Yeah, I don't even think we have... Often carry an M1911, Colt West Police Chamber 41 Long Colt, UN Military Police Sergeant Norman, include a Hippolyte Coaches K1510. So yeah, we don't have energy weapons. We don't have energy weapons in this. Now hear me out, roll your HP. Soldat Defense Identité does have them. Caps doesn't have them. Shock weapons, yeah, also work. That's fine. Yeah. Roll your HP. Rolling HP. That's a fucking... If we do a roll HP, I guess it would be bone plus meat. If we roll it, it would be bone plus meat. Okay. Yeah, we could roll that. It'd be kind of fucked up, but we could roll it. They wouldn't be very high. Tits has them, but Tits is also on an energy grid, so it's a little bit weird. So I guess we can get a little bit more creative, because one of the ideas here is that we're expanding out the session, expanding out the world a little bit. We're going to talk about the corporatization right here. We're hitting the point where the concept of being cyberpunk is alive and well. However, everyone's realizing that it's becoming alive and well. It's becoming part of culture. This is about a decade before the last show and before Neurobeat. So, yeah, I guess it would be a lot of shock tech. I guess we can do some other funny things there, I guess. Yeah. Which does remind me about combat, by the way. Combat, at this moment, combat looks like it's going to have to be zone-based. I do not like zone-based combat very much, because I find it a pain in the ass to work with. But I really do not think there is any other good way to do what I want to do. Like, that's the weird thing. It's a very specific thing. How zones work exactly. Kind of the basic premise of zone-based, combat and things is, let's say, okay, let's just do it. I just do combat map. What's good? Okay, so we'll use this for example. So here's the combat map. This is where the fight is taking place. A zone-based system would say, okay, so this is zone 1. This is a zone. This is a zone. Like, up here is kind of like up here is a zone. Here's a zone. Here's a zone. And then, like, back here is maybe a zone. And you would be moving between zones. Instead of having, like, kind of more strict measurements, it's, oh, when it says move 1, you move to the adjacent zone. However, things can get... I don't care for zones because it gets really gooey. And if we think that's one way of doing zones, someone else might say, well, this is kind of one zone. Like, this is another zone. But I also believe, like, this is a zone and this is a zone. Like, it gets very gooey, and I don't like that. But how do you make... I prefer standard maps. Yeah, because what I want to have happen, my goal, Mr. Notepad Anon's goal, is I want combat to feel pretty frantic and pretty fast. Like, you have control over the situation. Because you have control over the situation, you know what the fuck you're doing. However, I would guess, like, the best way to kind of if I were to mimic a video game for this, because I do enjoy me playing some video games, it would most likely be something akin to like a third-person shooter almost, or even something. Again, this popped up not exactly of my own volition, but Fear, the original Fear, kind of just how fast combat can be. That kind of John Woo-esque way of doing things. It sounds weird to say. I'm like, I want a John Woo game. I'm like, yeah, kind of. Like, how do you get this kind of scenario? How do you get the, bloodshed, very quick, very messy fighting style? And I don't know how to do that without zones. Unless we go like action map, but action map takes away some things. Hmm. 13th agent. Yeah, they have like the weird like combat circle, don't they? It's funny, everyone's turning it into, everyone just wants it to be 4E. Everybody wants to play it the real way, the real way of, God bless the fucking square grid, right? Am I right, boys? It's circles. You can divide the circle into 4 and have everyone face towards the center. I see a severe lack of tactical hex combat. Yeah, again, hex stuff is... My only fear about going full, like, hex autism or open map autism or anything like that, my only fear is that you are missing the, how do I want to... Time is going to slow down moving your little dudes around rather than getting into the we've cleared an entire floor by unloading our guns into it. Uh-oh, there are civilians who really cares. Jesus, they really don't want you to use this in any way, do they? Fuck, let's be a bullet map. It would be a bullet map system. Hexagons or bestagons? I guess the question is, how do you make a cool shooter? Yeah, system for all contacts dead, redeploy for next engagement. Yeah, and or even having the ability to... How do I want to... Okay, here. We'll use Ready or Not as an example. Like, when it comes to something like Ready or Not, I don't want a GM to have to like feel like they're obligated to make an entire thing like this. But the thing I'm worried about is you're gonna look at this and be like, okay, how do you divvy this up into zones by making it feel decent? So it's like, okay, how do I get what I want and still have it? Because I would like for things to flow into one another, if that makes sense. Like again, like fear, like fear, like pretty much most of the time in Fear, the game, levels kind of flow into each other. It's combat arenas, and those arenas have situations that you must try to avoid. In the way you fight in Fear is very different. So I'm trying to find like that. I feel like there's this ideal state of being. How do you aim your BFG? And maybe you have 3 rounds of combat. Yeah, but the thing is, with, like, again, Tactical Breach Wizards, like, if we look at something like Tactical Breach Wizards, can you expect a GM to make a map like this? Or, like, 4 or 5 maps like this? I don't know. For how much you're getting out for 3 turns of combat. Can you expect a GM to make this situation? I don't know. I think there's a very, very mixed concept there. How do you aim your BFG? Currently, you would take a attribute, and that attribute would add to your skill. You know, attribute plus skill. Keep whatever half your attribute is. You roll, and then again, that's one of those things. If we add an open map, I would need to have like a defense system, and that defense system would be, this is the base difficulty to hit this person. Are they in cover? That's something else. Or it's this, that's something else. Oh, aiming? Like just strictly like an aim action? You would probably have to just do an action to aim. Which, fuck all if I know. Maybe we put in like an action point system? Is that the secret? Is the secret putting in an action point system? During combat, you can do X amount of actions. You have to spend action points to do things. Ugh, God. Ooh. What if you roll your map? What do you mean by that? I think I might know what you're putting down, but I'm curious what you mean by that. I'm curious where this is going. If I'm dead silent, I'm looking at chat right now, by the way. Not exactly the void method, like a random... So you have a map of 3d6 whenever you move. After every action you roll, and roll spawns covered in hazards. So you'd have actions call for roles on the map. So it would be a weird, fucked up, it would be a variant of the void system, effectively. But instead of... Yeah, it's abstracted, but... Instead of the void being used to generate a dungeon, you're using void to generate a combat map. That's what I'm hearing. So it would be kind of the idea is like you don't really know what's in a combat map until you start. You can kill till you kind of hit there, and once you've hit there, then you kind of start seeing what's going on. How would you do it? Unless now. This is a weird way of looking at this. We might have to look at this from a very bizarre angle. And this would be a completely fucking alien angle, I want you to know. For literally any game ever. But it would... No, not that. This is a game called Body Cam, by the way. This is not real, this is a game. This is a video game called Body Cam. With the idea, almost, that you don't know what you're getting into, but you would be seeing everything through a body cam, effectively. That would be kind of the premise, almost. In a very weird way. But how would you do that? So you roll your initial void. So woobly, say you roll your initial void and the dice stay and your actions cut off access and vision to these rooms. Hello, thank you for following. Davey Sunafish. Davey Sun Officialson. There we go. Yeah, I got it. Alright, what's this? We're writing a tabletop role-playing game. That's what we're doing. Yeah, close enough. Davey Suno Officialson. Close enough. So it would be... If... That's a very weird way of doing that, but that would be an idea. Literally, we use the void to make a combat scenario. That would be a little chaotic, but... Davy's unofficial son, I see. So, I mean, combat mapping here would be... It's effectively saying randomized combat maps, and we would need to put the concept of being abstracted combat maps as well. That is a shitstorm in the making. What I should actually put in is how to shoot bad man. How to shoot bad man. Okay. Draw my gun, bang, bang, bang. Isn't chaotic the goal? Chaos is the main ingredient of fear, yeah. I guess. What would be the... How do I want to do this? What would be the way of doing this properly? Because the void is all about you don't know what the future holds. You do not know what is on that floor of the dungeon. You are going in blind, effectively. You don't know how things are going. You just know that it's going to happen. So here, we would be having to miniaturize it. Use this website. Yes, welcome to Miro. Ignore all of this. Just ignore that. It cannot hurt us. Don't look at that either. That cannot hurt us. If we simply do not look at the problem, it will not affect us. Always remember that. Oh my lord. Yeah, no, it's you're looking at the man who has a problem, if you can tell. So oh shit, do we use search for this? Ooh, brain blasting. Brain blasting, everybody. The brain is blasting. Call me Jimmy Neutron. Thinking. Brain hort. Yamashi, Super Saturday, Rumble Hearts. Where the hell are you? No, that would be pedigrees. Shit, where did I put it? I guess it would be a bit of Crisis Center. What is that? Put a little bit of Crisis Center in there. We would put, it would be Song of the White Carnations system. What is that? Oh lord, it would be Song of the White Carnations. What is that? The Song of the White Carnations has a combat system that's a little bit weird. Because the entire concept is your defense is actually judged by how aggressive you're acting. If you are acting extremely aggressive, it is very easy to avoid getting hurt. Actually, if you are acting very offensive, if you are going aggro, it's very difficult to defend yourself, but you get a bonus to actually hurting people. If we use this, so that it would be... maybe a combat stancing situation. kind of a weird. We would have to be using a few different things to modify it. Oh lord, breach, I guess. What do we say? Grenade that affects D4, so you have a target and the guy in the D4 room, if any, and/or combat directives, I guess. Yeah. Do you pay for Google Drive? No. Again, the storage looks really bad. If you see, it's 94% full. Fun fact, everyone. It's not 94% full. I would say it's probably about 70. My phone backs up all of the photos I take to my drive. Yeah, it backs up a lot of photos. I should go through there and say stop doing that, but it never does. It's like, are you positive? Are you completely sure? Yes. Are you positive? Actually, we use... We use the concept of combat stancing. Alternatively, we just say, alternatively, we could use a squad movement system effectively, which the idea would be effectively just making mobile line combat. Thank God my phone avoids doing that. Yeah, my phone likes doing it because it's very paranoid that I'm going to lose everything. Even though I do have all my photos backed up on my computer already, just not my Google Drive. Like, kind of the idea of the squad movement system would be you are acting as a... It's the fucking Alien game. Alien Fire Team? No, not Alien Fire Team. It's Dark Descent, yeah. So it would be like Dark Descent. Because Alien's Dark Descent actually has a very interesting way of doing kind of that kind of gameplay, if that makes sense. Because you, in Dark Descent, you don't control individual squad members. You instead control the squad moving to and fro. And because you are controlling the squad, you can order them individually to do things. You know, someone can break off, but you don't really want to. You are kind of a cohesive whole. You are moving as one to fight as one, because fighting alone is going to get you killed. Zam. I was about to transfer my script thing into a giant, like, system with this blah blah whatever. I suck at explaining, but I decided to add 0 notation to my code, and all of my code is compiled in one file. You fool! You utter baboon! That's a weird idea. What I mean by like up here is, let's say this is our let's say our combat arena. We have a combat arena. Things are going on. Effectively, what's happening is your squad is moving out, doing things. You know, you're acting individually, performing actions. However, it's like you're all moving over here kind of thing. Like you are moving to point to point to point. No one's really breaking off to do their own thing. And if you are, does a this does not help at, because I forgot. Getting any information that would be useful from this is a crapshoot, because everyone lives in D&D town. God, yeah. Oh no. Oh no. No, 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 no. Break away and return to center. A bit. I have a trailer problem. Solved. Life is good again. Good. You break away and return to center. Effectively. Deeper in down, 16 tons, and what do you get? Another day older and deeper in that. St. Peter, don't you call me, 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store. But you'll always have a combat skill. No matter what you do, you'll always have some ability in combat. How do I do the arrows? Yeah. The thing with the arrows, so I'm gonna tell you a secret here. So if you drag and click, that's gonna do one thing. You can drag and click it to another kind of like snap point. If you just click, it's gonna try to put it up to something. If it's alone, it'll just make another one, and keep all the data. You can edit these to do things. Sometimes I like the wavy lines, sometimes I like the rigid ones. I usually go with rigid when I'm doing things like this because I just want to collect information. Other times, these can get fairly interlocked with one another. So, yeah, sometimes keeping track of things are a little bit more difficult than I would like to admit. a little bit more complicated. I really should fix the way this looks. This looks kind of like ass. Gotta go now. Yeah, thanks for the help. No worries. I am Miro's strongest warrior. Okay. I've been doing this for about 3 hours. It's almost 10. I'm gonna make dinner, I think. But we've got something. Not perfect, but it's something. Most likely, we will work on this again on Wednesday. I'm pretty happy with this. We're going to need some more. We'll probably need to do some more health stuff there. But alright. I want to try to work on this on Wednesday. I need to think on that a little bit. I can see it. I don't know how it's going to work, though. That idea is a very strange idea, but I think it could work. Alright, I'm going to leave now. Godspeed, good luck. I'm going to write a script for a Lara Croft video, so have fun with that. It will come out on Wednesday, hopefully. I am, as they say, away.